if you have a gift and you only use it for yourself, then it's not a gift. I believe it's a curse. And I think that, like, like I said, if you have the ability to heal cancer with a touch, and you only touched yourself ever, well, then that's not a gift. And I think that you don't leave the world better than when you came into it. You actually leave it worse because you had this opportunity to help people.
Welcome to Hollywood Real, where my inspiring guests share the stories behind their success and ideas to help you live your dreams. I'm your host, Jay Menez. And today's guest started out as a gifted but unfocused kid who was influenced by the right people at the right times, which not only gave him the tools to succeed in acting, but also the tenacity and grace that defines this class act. You know him from Straight Outta Compton, Fast and Furious, and Insecure on HBO. Today, he stars on the incredibly popular TV show SEAL Team on CBS as Navy SEAL Ray Perry. We talk about how he goes all in at a low point of his career for the sake of his family and not giving up on his dream, and much more. So let's meet my talented friend, Neil Brown Jr. Neil, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
First of all, big fan of SEAL Team. It's an incredible show. And you portray it so well.
Thank you, thank you.
Tell me something. How are you most like your character?
I'd like to think that I was as thoughtful as he is. I'm very similar with my wife and my kids and my mother. The way he is, his faith, of course, and his sense of just getting things done. You know, kind of drowning out the noise and just doing things by the numbers. I've imparted a lot, part of myself onto him like that. So.
Are you involved with the military outside of the show?
Oh, my dad was a Marine. My uncles, everybody was in the military. Most of them Vietnam era. They started in Vietnam and then they got out. I was in ROTC as a kid. I've done tons of military movies. Been through like 14 weeks of boot camp altogether for various films. And just kind of always been around it, and I help out certain organizations that I can, that we work with SEAL Team, as well as like on my own. It was a private part of my life, but I try to donate what I can and do what I can because they're like our ultimate servants.
That's amazing. I heard that when you were younger, you actually had ambitions of becoming a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, I did. Only problem is you got to join the Navy. And shout out to the Navy. I just couldn't imagine being on the water all that time. I love to swim, but man, when you get out there, it's tragic. It's just like space, man, and water. Yeah, I was in ROTC, at Junior ROTC, Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps, as a kid for 4 years. Studied aerospace science and aeronautical engineering. Was in high school, and was working on a scholarship to West Point. Everything. I thought I was really going to go to the military, and it just wasn't in the cards for me. My wife got pregnant. Well, it was my girlfriend at the time. And we went a different path. She was going to join the military as well. She was joining the Air Force. She went down to MEPS and everything, and then showed up next. I'm pregnant. They're like, okay, we can't go now. So yeah, I've been. It's always been around my life because my dad's a Marine, like I said, and he raised me in a militant household, a free household. My mom was the whimsical, like, live your life, and my dad was like, do this by the numbers. So I had, I think, what I feel is the perfect upbringing.
How'd your parents feel about you going into the military? Or did they want you to do it? Or?
My dad did. My dad, so he's a Vietnam era Marine, and he said there's no place for a black man, son, at that time. But then he thought I was smarter than that, and he didn't want me to be a grunt. He said if I was going to join the military, then I had to be an officer. That was his one rule. And he just saw how, much I love. That's one thing about me and Ray Perry that's the same. Ray's has OCD. A lot of people don't realize he's always together because he has OCD. And as a kid, once I started putting on that uniform, my creases had to be sharp enough to cut cheese with, and my room had to be squared away and everything. So my dad saw that love that I had for, following directions and and doing things by the numbers. So he knew he couldn't like stop me from wanting to join the military. But I think he always knew that something else was going to happen.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have my sister, my older sister, and my brother who passed away. My mom had three sons, and then my father had another son both from previous marriages. All of them passed away, so all I had was my sister. My sister Calandria Brown, who's 9 years older than me, who used to beat up on me. She used to beat up on me. She used to just pour water on my head. She thought I was spoiled, so she was ruthless to me. But she's one of the best people I've ever met and known. So we're really close.
Oh, that's great. Did she ever take to this military way?
No.
No.
She was a bookworm, super smart. And my brother Spencer, he didn't pass away until he was like 30. He was a big musician guy. So I also got really into books like my sister, and then I started playing music like my brother and kind of honor him. But no, she was not a big military person. Not even in the slightest. She's just always reading her Archie comics.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So your love for this structure of the military, or your inclination to it, I should say, is that something that your dad kind of trained into you, or did that come naturally because you're OCD?
My dad imparted a lot of that on me. He showed me the value of it. My dad is the greatest person I've ever known. He's my hero, and he would always, he spoke in like parables. He speaks in parables, like he speaks like Jesus. The way he would explain things, it just kind of blew my mind. Very common sense type person, but he's always very apt to say that, common sense is not very common. But the way he taught me, it showed me the value in structure. And I guess he saw those things in me. He saw the kind of, I'm a Gemini, he saw kind of like the wild side, and then he saw another side of me fighting to put everything in a box. And he wanted to teach me that certain things belong in a box and certain things need to be outside of it. But first have the foundation of knowing how to put things in the box, and then you can color outside the lines.
Got it.
After you understand what the colors are and what do you have in the box. So yeah, I think he imparted a lot of that in me, as well as my mother too. She loves cleanliness. She hates filth. But both of them kind of tag team. Being raised by my parents was like being raised by Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. My dad obviously being Malcolm El Malik El Shabazz, and my mom being very much Martin Luther King Jr. Sweeter, more kind.
So both very strong personalities.
Yeah, very strong personalities.
And sense of values.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. Yeah.
And so how'd you get involved in martial arts? Because I know that you've got some extensive martial arts training.
It's my dad. My dad, my mom as well, but my dad, I came up in a rough neighborhood, and I was a short little bright-skinned kid with long curly hair. He wanted me to be able to handle myself, and then he saw I really liked, but he always had me watching Bruce Lee movies and Chuck Norris and all that, and he saw how much I liked it, and I'd run around kicking and stuff, and so he just always wanted me to have training in my life. I mean, since I was 4 or 5 years old, he had me, running and teaching me the value of physical work early on, and learning how to be able to do, take one step at a time, and to be consistent, and consistent action would breed success for me. So he wanted me to be able to take some of this energy that was like, and to focus and hone it. So I would be able to handle myself, and mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Were you a good student?
Not until I was in high school. I was in a gifted class when I was young, but I was a really bad kid. I liked to fight. I was an angry little kid. I get kicked out of schools and stuff. Teachers were begging to kick me out. Anything they could find, they were like, "Oh, well, he didn't dot this I and cross this T, so he's got to go." They didn't want me around because it was too wild. And something clicked in high school. They told my parents that they had a very high IQ, and they said he's very smart. He's just bored and rambunctious.
What do you think it is that clicked?
I had a teacher. I was in middle school, Southwest Middle School in Orlando, Florida. And this one teacher, my English teacher, we had this test that we took, this big test. And they had this kid who was a Mensa student, who was the smartest kid in school. And we all took the test, and for whatever reason, I decided to take the test for real. Because I was like, oh, well, that day I just felt like, oh, yeah. Because it was really hard, like pulling teeth to get me to do my work. I knew the answers to everything. I just didn't want to do it. I was like, yeah, I got to take my hand and who wants to do that? But that day I just decided to take the test, and I walked into class a month later, however long it was that they finished grading them. And I was starting to walk in my class. I'm yelling at people like I normally do, walking through the halls, like, yo, what's up? It was a social butterfly. And I started to walk in, and then the woman grabbed me and slammed me up against the door. She was a really tiny lady. She slammed me up against the door. I was like, what I do? Because I know I did something, because that's what I did, things. And she pointed me, poked me in the chest. She says, I want to know why the baddest kid in the class, the one who does no work, has the highest scores in this school. Because I had higher, everybody thought I did something like cheated or something, because it was higher than the Mensa kid. And so she kept poking me in the chest, and she was just like, you are done. You are not going to sit in my class and not do work anymore. You're done. Why are you this smart? And then I was like, I don't know what you're saying. Maybe I cheated. And then she's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. I know you. I knew this about you. And from then on, she was really rough on me and made sure that I was doing the work, and proved to the faculty and everybody that I didn't cheat. There was no way to cheat on the test. It was just, I was what she feared, a smart kid who just didn't like to work. So she made sure I was put in a program when I went to my high school that let kids with high IQs, kids that were in danger of dropping out, I was never going to drop out. My dad would kill me, and my mom for that matter. But that where I could kind of go at my own pace. And I don't know, I started that year, I went up in weight class and fighting, and I started lifting weights, and I just started something just clicked about structure and about being consistent. And I just applied it all to school, to my Muay Thai, to my karate, all that. I applied it to my life, and I just started working like a demon, and got all my credits very early because I was just blazing through the stuff. And then started going to college when I was 15 in high school. They put me in college courses, and then I was dual enrolled. And I that teacher is probably, was the catalyst for all of that. And I just wanted to see, my parents were like so happy, and they just couldn't believe it. Like, I had F's, and then all of a sudden I had 4.4, but then it went down to like a 3.9 because I fell off when I found my girlfriend, who's my wife now. I stopped going to school for a while because I was just all up under her. I was like, this is all I want. But yeah, that was the catalyst for me getting that click in me, and like, I can do this. Yeah. Why not? Anything worth doing is worth doing right and worth working hard at.
Sometimes it just takes somebody to just believe in you and be a role model and point you in that right direction. And it's just that little nudge.
Yeah, at the right time. It was just the right day for me to hear it. It was, God intended for me to take that test the right way. Just that one test. That was it. And I wasn't perfect by any means. After that, I still was a rambunctious little, gregarious little child. But I did apply myself.
Yeah.
And it was much better being that way than it was the way I was before.
So do you take that same work ethic into your work today?
I do. Even more so. And I, even with my acting career, the way I was in school before that moment, some of that happened for me in kind of like the middle of my acting career. And it was just something clicked one day, and I decided to apply my prayer life and my meditation life, my martial life. I applied it all to my acting life, and it just I've been working steadily ever since because it just takes consistent action. And, you just got to be ready when you get minutes. You've been
Amen.
riding the bench, and but it's the playoffs, and you've been riding the bench the whole time, and all of a sudden somebody twists an ankle. You got a minute and a half. Get in there. What you going to do in that minute and a half? You can't be like, oh, I haven't played. I don't know what I'm doing. No, you got to go in there, get a few steals, get a bucket, get an assist, boom. And then maybe you get 3 minutes the next time, or 4 minutes, or maybe you start. You just got to make sure that your talent doesn't get you somewhere that your character can't keep you. So I think all of this was character building stuff all of the time, so that when I got to this place, that I would be prepared, so that I could be better for the people around me that needed me.
Well, as an actor, you've got your on-screen role, persona, and then the off-screen. And we were talking earlier about how you are so conscious and aware of how that all, how they tie together.
I come from the school of the less you know about me as a person, the more apt you are, the easier it is for you to believe the character that I play, because you have no other foundation of belief with that which I'm doing on the screen. So you can really immerse yourself in that character and believe that whoever I'm playing, whether that guy's a butt nugget, or whether he's a really great guy, or whether he's the funny guy, whatever, what have you, you're able to believe that and get what I feel you need from that character, from that color in the painting. If you know too much about me as a person, then that will impart itself on the character I'm playing, and it'd be harder for you to believe that character. I.e., if a person's a super funny person all the time, and then he's playing this very serious role, and you know him to be this funny guy, it's like, I don't really buy it, and it takes you out of the film, out of the role, out of what you need from it. And like I was saying to you before, I was talking to myself about this over the years, and thinking about, like, because I never wanted to be like a celebrity. I didn't want people to like me for me. I wanted them to enjoy the performance, because if you have a gift and you only use it for yourself, then it's not a gift. I believe it's a curse. And I think that, like I said, if you have the ability to heal cancer with a touch, and you only touched yourself ever, well, then that's not a gift. And I think that you don't leave the world better than when you came into it. You actually leave it worse, because you had this opportunity to help people. And my gift, for whatever it's worth, is to affect people with the roles that I play. And some people need to laugh. Some people need to cry. Some people need to see that character that reminds them of the guy that cut them off in traffic, and they need to see him get in an accident and have to deal with the police and all that, and that makes them feel better. It's cathartic. And my gift is to affect people, and the less I impart who I am on the people that are watching me, the more apt they are to believe that character, and the more apt they are to be able to feel what they need to feel from whatever I'm doing in that scene, or whatever I'm doing in that show or that movie. Because that's my duty, that's my gift. It's what I can give people. And I do this because that's my way of helping. That's my way of helping my fellow person, and that's kind of all I want to do. The beauty of it is that I get paid very well, but all that gives me is the ability to do what I think my wife deserves, and what my parents deserve, and what my in-laws deserve, and I'm able to do more for them. For me, I do get joy knowing that people truly will come to me and be like, oh man, what you did in that scene, at that day I was just feeling so down, and I saw that, and I realized that, I wasn't the only one, and I watched how your character went through it, and that helped me. And that's, I think that's my whole purpose as a human at this point in my life. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's my God-given talent. So that's what I do to help.
Wow, that's an incredible perspective on it. One that I haven't heard quite the same way before. How does it feel to you when people come up to you, fans, and they come up to you and tell you that you made a real effect on their life in that way, and that you inspired them or helped them in some way?
It's a beautiful thing. I know I did my job. I did what God intended me to do. I know that. I love, people say all the time, they're like, Ray or Chad or Yella. They call me the character's name. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, no, that's fine. Because obviously you're seeing me as that character, and you got what you needed from from that character, right? You don't have to know who I am as a person, Neil Brown Jr., the actor. It's always weird when people know my name. That's when I'm like, huh, what? No, how you know me? And they're like, oh, that's right, I act. But what I do is I do those characters and then I leave it and I don't think about it again because I painted that picture and now I've moved on and taken what I've learned from that painting into the next one. And hopefully this one's more realistic or whatever it needs to be, or it has more pain in it, or it has more laughter in it, or it has more healing in it. It gives me, I cry at night and just so thankful that I was able to affect someone, good, bad, or indifferent, but I was able to affect them and give them what they needed for the day. Even if it's like, oh man, I couldn't stand you in that, I can't, and they love to hate this other character. But that's giving them something. That's giving them a feeling that they need it. Some people have like horrible, horrible days. And then they come home and they watch this show or they watch this movie or they catch this scene and you just lifted them up. And I just don't think there's a better thing that you can do for people than helping them through their day.
I think there's a lot of congruency really in real life between who Neil Brown is and Ray. Does this show up in any other part of your life outside of the show?
Anytime it gets really rough, because I get sad like anyone else. I get showing these emotions, putting this stuff that people like put so deeply and they're not able to really share. Having it surface on the surface is hard, it's taxing. But I always, pray for guidance and pray for strength because it's my job. It's at this point in my life, I think this is what I'm meant to do. And so I can't take a day off because that is probably the day that person needed it the most. And if you have the ability to be a light, if you have the ability to be, if you have the ability to be the darkness shade that someone needs for that day, I just don't think that you can give up and throw your hands up. But I also have a duty to be honest with people and know that I don't always have the strength to do it. I don't even want to do it a lot of times, but I still do it in spite of how I'm feeling because I know, people need it. And for that matter, I need it because part of me needs to help. So I think it's in all aspects of my life. I wanted to be the Big Daddy, so it's like with marriage, it's like it gets frustrated and sometimes you just don't want to, but I wanted to be this husband with all this responsibility and all these things. So I have to get up and keep pushing forward.
Yeah. Well, you've had an incredible journey so far, and I sense that you're really just getting started.
Yeah, I feel like it. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel I describe it as like when I did Straight Outta Compton, it's like I had this room, I had this huge house actually, and I knew every nook and cranny of the house. I knew where every door hinged, everything that squeaked. I knew everything about this house. And then I got Straight Outta Compton, and I opened the door and realized that I was in the foyer the whole time of this huge, massive mansion that had 500 more rooms that I thought was the house. It had 500 of these, and now I have to go and figure out all of these, what I thought was it. I have to figure it all out. It was just this little space amongst this huge, vast property. And that's how I feel about my career. That's how I feel like I'm just getting started. And every day is new, and I try to learn something every single day from this job. And I pray to learn it, whether it be behind the camera, whether it be in front of the camera, whether it be about sound, whether it be about that person. I was working with Marlon Wayans, and he helped put something. Richard Schiff did the same thing, but Marlon in particular, he said it comes from the top down. And this is what I was talking about, like duty. He says, like, if you're the guy, then you have to set the tone, and you have to make sure that people are having a good time doing this thing, because we're playing pretend. We're just these big kids. So you have to give so much of yourself, but you have to do it with a smile, and you have to be pleasant and kind, so that other people are pleasant and kind and they're having a good day, because you never know what someone's going through. So I think that all of it kind of runs together. The things that's one of the other things that I learned, and I'm constantly learning and constantly trying to apply those good messages and stuff to cast, crew. Um, Marlon, if somebody was having a bad day, a PA, he'd go up to him and be like, hey, what's going on? What's wrong? Nope, you're sitting down. You're an extra today. No, you're going to sit in the scene. I'm going to make you laugh. It's like, or just listening to someone. You set that tone. Be the first one to leave, and first one there, and the last one to leave.
Yeah, that's really the hallmark of good leadership. Do you see yourself as one of the main leaders on the show?
No, I'm learning to be. I'm in a position where I'm learning from like David, who's gone before me, and so many directors, like Chris Chulak, and the writers, and everyone does work so very hard at their job, and it takes more than one person to make this happen. So no one person is more important than anyone. I learn from Max Terriot every day, AJ Buckley, Jessica Pereira, Tony Trucks. I learn from all of them every day, something new, something interesting, and also learn how to work as a team. And I'm learning what I need to know for the next job, for the next thing, where I may be number one, and how to be that leader in spite of, courage is in the absence of fear. It's acting in spite of it. So I'm learning how to maneuver and work through that. And I'm very fortunate in that I'm around all these special operators who had to get stuff done no matter what the odds were. So it's just really inspiring to me. And also, that's where my dad raised me, and that's how he taught me.
Yeah.
So,
how do you hope to inspire your own kids? What sort of values are most important to you in that regard?
for him to have a good heart, and know that doing for others is more important than doing for yourself. And it's more important to be selfless than selfish. Although my wife continually tells me I give too much of myself. She says, you spread too thin, you do too much. But I'd rather, burn out affecting people than live a long life not. So I'm hoping, and my kids, both my sons have good hearts. And I did not want them to be anywhere near this career, because you're much more likely to find happiness in something else than this job. But my son's a rapper, Conscious Prophet, and my youngest son, that's my oldest son, Bishop, and my youngest son wants to be a sports journalist since he's 10 years old. And they have a much more spoiled life than I had, and but they do know the value of hard work, and they do know the value of being a good person and having a good heart and having compassion for people. I think if I can teach them to be compassionate, and they take that and they teach their kids, and I mean, that's the legacy. That's what I want to happen. I always say all I want on my gravestone is he was a class act. If I can get that, I'm good. But I can't say it. Somebody else has to say it, So I'm trying, very hard to, and I've always tried to impart that on them and give them a sense of doing for others more than they do for themselves.
Well, you make it look easy, but I'm sure that it wasn't always so easy, like the path to, especially for an actor, like you pointed out, riddled with bumps and
Yes.
dips and valleys and momentary success, and then you're back down to the grind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Where do you think the most challenging part of that is nowadays?
Finding the time in the day to get it all done and keeping track of it all, and still, being available to people that need you and need those words, and just not having always the energy and time to do it. It's just not seeming to be enough hours in the day. But still I still got to get to the gym. I still got to have my nutrition. I still got to have my quiet time early in the morning. And then I just end up having to get up earlier and stay up later. But I just want to be positive to people. And you don't have to always be positive, but it's just important that people see that that little light, because they may be in like they may be in the grave, they may be covered with dirt, but if they can see that little pin light, maybe they start to climb towards it and then
Right.
get through the dirt and get into the sunshine.
And you can be that light.
Well, the character I play can be that light, you know,
Right.
which is important. I'm no one. I am absolutely no one. I'm just a dude that I was given a talent to believably play these characters, and I still look at. I mean, I look at, dude. I was I was watching, Love Actually, and I'm watching Colin Firth, and I'm watching all these guys on there, and I'm just like, oh man, when will I ever be that good? Like, when will I be that good? Because I constantly want to learn. I work with my acting coach Dennis Neal all the time, and I just want to go deeper and be more believable. And I always ask to be a more believable version of this character that I'm playing, and I'm trying to grow, man. I'm trying to do better to have people like get as into it as I am with these performances that I watch, and I think I'm at least on the right path to do that. But with that, I don't matter. But Neil Brown Jr., it doesn't matter. The characters that I'm playing, I think they do. So I just want to get better at being those guys believably for people.
Yeah. Well, you're very humble, and we appreciate that. But I think you're much more far along than you think. Do you ever think about quitting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there a moment that you thought about walking away from?
Well, I should say this. I always call my publicist. I always call my people. I say, I'm done acting. It's over. I quit. And they're like,
you
no,
just
you're
messing
not.
with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get just like anybody else, man. I get down. I mean, I don't hide from the fact that I was diagnosed with rapid cycling bipolar disorder a long time ago, and sometimes the negative side tries to take over, and it's like, it's not working, nobody cares, you're not good enough, you'll never be good enough, quit. But the thing of it is I'm a rebellious I'm a rebellious dude, and I'm a fighter, and I like a fight. So, and it becomes a challenge to me to fight that other side, so the other side can't win. So in truth, no, I would never quit just because I can't. I don't have it in me, but I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Nope. It was like, especially when it was hard. It was difficult. I didn't have a job for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But I was really just saying it so my wife would tell me, yes, you're gonna do it. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. But she knows I was never gonna give up. I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Once I set my mind on something, I don't stop.
So what do you tell yourself when you start having those thoughts about quitting, or at least, fronting that you will?
It's all in my head. I tell myself it's all in your head. You're just having a down moment. That's it. This is what you do. And it's like, I'll look at a message from a fan that says, I really needed that today. And it's like, how can you quit? How can you quit? If you affect one person, you've done all the job that you ever needed to do. So, and you're affecting multiple people. So you have a duty to them, because not everybody has what I have. I'm filthy rich, and I don't mean that monetarily. I mean, I have immaculate love in my life. My wife is a goddess, and she loves me wholeheartedly. She's the woman of my dreams. My children, although they give me a hard time, they are a dream. I'm so blessed to have two healthy, loving children, and my parents. I have so much richness in life, and not everybody has that, or even if they do, they don't see it. So if I quit, then maybe I don't get in touch with that person that day that needed to see it, and it was all for naught. So I have to continue to go, and I just reach down to this sense of duty. And it energizes me, and I keep going. Plus, I love what I do.
Sure.
I love what I do. I love to pretend. I don't do this. I'm thankful for the money. I'm thankful for what it allows me to be able to do. But I'm more thankful for the material. that the writers write, because I get to go into these scenes. Because what gets me going is the moments in between the moments. That's when like you're doing a scene, and all of a sudden, it doesn't happen all the time, but all of a sudden, all the cameras disappear, everything goes away, and it's just you two in this scene looking at each other, and there's so much more going on than what's being said. And that's that spark. It excites me, it empowers me. Richard Schiff, when we were working together, it used to happen with me and him all the time, and I was just like, it would just give me all this energy to be able to keep going. And I say, that's what I do it for. I do it to find the moments in between the moments. And I'm a big kid, man. I did to have this real fun time playing pretend, you know.
Yeah, that's like being in the zone or in flow.
100%.
What do you think you'd be doing if not acting?
I literally always thought like, I'd go to the military, be in special forces, get out, teach karate, be a cop, be a federal marshal, chasing down the bad guy, me and my dog. Like basically Justin Melnick and Brock. I thought that's what I was going to do. I was going to be the loner cop. But then I realized, that was the guy in the movie that I liked, and I just want to be, I thought I wanted to be, when I was a kid, I always thought I wanted to be the guy in the movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme in this movie, Steven Seagal in this movie. But what it turns out, I wanted to be the guy making the movie. I wanted to be the guy pretending to be the guy. So, I mean, I think that's what I would have been. I'd probably been in the military.
Right. Well, you wanted to be a SEAL at one point. Now you're a SEAL.
Yeah.
On TV.
Playing one on TV.
Yeah, and arguably having a bigger impact even, or an impact in a different way.
Yeah, impact in a different way.
Because you're inspiring people with that character as you described.
Yeah, people can, I mean, some people it reminds them of somebody they knew. Some people it reminds them of themselves, and they get to see that representation. It's a lot of, I think we lose sight of how this medium does affect people, because we get, called, he's a pompous actor, and, some of us give us a bad name. But it's really about affecting people, It's really about, representing things in a very authentic, truthful way, as truthful as possible. And I just go back to that all the time, just affecting people. And it's a duty and honor and a privilege, especially with on this show on SEAL Team, which are representing such hardworking individuals who don't get recognition for it. And that's goes to my point. Say I'm getting recognized for all this stuff, and I ain't never shot nobody, but I'm thankful that they recognize the character more so than anything.
Yeah, I think that's one of the clues to your success, is that, as you described, you're not doing this for yourself. You're not doing this for Neil. You're doing this for other people. There's a value proposition you're putting out there. So when you think about it in that way, in that I'm not trying to sell anybody or anything or get a paycheck or be famous, what I'm trying to do primarily is to affect people, inspire people in a positive way.
Absolutely.
And when you give first, then the universe returns it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I mean that's my experience. And look, part of it is selfish, because I like to help people. I like to, my mom, my wife would say, you gotta stop being a people pleaser. And I'm like, I'm not pleasing people. I'm giving some person what they need at that moment. Maybe they just needed to be pissed off at somebody. And I did it, and they just, they were so angry. But then that was cool, because they didn't take it out on. We were the water cooler talk about the episode or about the character. I just think that's so cool. So part of it is a little selfish, because I do like the joy that, or the anger, whatever it is. I like that effect that people have. That does get me going as well. But I am doing it for a good reason, because I want them to to have that time to experience art, and some people look at paintings all day, some people look at movies and TV shows, moving art, but I don't think what I'm doing is some grand thing or what have you, but I do see how it touches people, and that's all I know how to do.
That's your art. It's beautiful.
So I'm trying.
What's the most difficult decision you've ever had to make to achieve the type of wealth that you have today?
I made a conscious decision with my wife, and we were having a rough go of it, and we kind of right before Straight Outta Compton, we had to get help from SAG-AFTRA, and we had to get from the AFTRA fund and the SAG fund to pay our bills because everything was gone. And I talked to her.
Was this just lean times, or did some event happen?
A lot of stuff happened. There was sicknesses in the family. We helped so many people that we were just broke. We had given away all we could give and had nothing. And then the work had dried up, and we had to make a decision. And then there were other things going on, family stuff. My son especially, which he's so much better now, thank God. But it was a really rough time, and we had given ourselves all these moments, and I says, okay, if we get to this point, something's gonna change. And I talked to my wife and I said, hey, I'm gonna have to be selfish for 6 months. I'm gonna have to be all about me. It's gonna look like I don't care about nobody in the house, but I'm just putting in extreme amounts of work into getting myself to be the best version of myself that I can be for this house. And I think, and I believe that what's going to happen is I'm going to get a lot of work from it. It's going to seem crazy, but I think it's going to work. And she made an agreement with me. She's like, I said, I'm going to be here, but I'm not going to be here. But the kids were like 16, 17 at the time. And she agreed. She says, okay. And she says she's going to back me up. I said, no, I'm going to use you. I'm going to need you to read lines and stuff like that, but I'm going to be gone early and back late. And even when I'm here, I'm going to be studying and grinding and working. And we did that. Everything had to be for me at that point because my diet changed, everything changed, and she had to catch up with it. And I said, and if it doesn't work, we'll try something different. But I have to adapt this sense of selfishness for a little while to make the best product possible so that other people, the casting directors and all that, will know, and I won't have any excuse once I leave those rooms. And we did that, and I got Straight Outta Compton from it. And then I got the next movie, and then the next movie, and the next movie. And then I was able to be there and I said, okay, it worked. It actually worked. And I just started booking like this. Pow, pow, pow. And then I dropped that selfishness crap, and I was like, okay, now you need to be with me all the time. Everybody together, I'm here all the time. But that was a difficult decision because I love my family to death, and I don't like being absent. That's my peace. That's my joy. My dad, he raised me that way. He's like, look, all of this, none of this means anything. Your family is what matters. It's like being there for them, loving them, raising them the right way, raising each other. So that was a very difficult choice to make, and it was very hard. But my wife's a tough chick, and my kids are awesome. But it paid off, and it pays in dividends, and now I can be there and be available, although time management is very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, what did that process look like, though? Like for somebody else in that position, and they really need to hit it hard, what does that look like? Because you said, okay, I've got to be all about myself, and I just got to go all in. Not going to be very available. There are a lot of people maybe in that position, maybe do have those home responsibilities, maybe not. They're a little bit more fortunate because they've got more time to spend on themselves. But what did that process look like? If you could break that down into a step 1, 2, 3, how did you accomplish that?
I started with a fast. I fasted and prayed for. It just was a lot of different stuff, but I fasted and prayed for 30 days. I would get up and have an hour of prayer and Bible study every morning, an hour of prayer Bible study at night. Um, you can use meditation, whatever, what have you. But I would get up at about 4:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, and I would have that time, and I wouldn't speak to anyone until I talked to God, and until I got myself into a mental place where the things that would come out of my mouth were worthy of being heard. And I became very selective about what came out of my mouth, in the way I spoke to people. So it became very quiet. It's so funny because people know me as a person. He talks a lot. Oh, he's always, but I'm very quiet at home.
So that part was for a physical transformation and mental, or was the fasting to support the?
It was a physical, mental, spiritual transformation. I needed to be able to block out all negative thinking, all negative habits, and to force myself to be consistent about something. And then that consistency in that area would impart itself on all the other areas that I needed it to. So I would have that, and then I would have that quiet time, then I would have the nutrition, I would kiss her, and then I would go. And I would go hit the gym, I would go read, I would go to my acting coach. And when I would get an audition, when I would get a script, sides, I would get a script. I said, I need the script. I would read the script 3 times in totality before I would read my lines, so that I knew the overall arc of the script, and I became consistent about that. And that takes time. I'm here, but I'm not here. So then I would read once I read it 3 times, then I understood what the story looked like, what it sounded like, what all the characters, where they fit. I became very open to the rhythm. See, a lot of times you go on an audition, and you're doing great lines, but it's not fitting the rhythm of the play, of the piece. And my acting coach, Dennis Neal, he told me how to do this. He was like, start treating your scripts, your movies, your TV shows, whatever, like a play, and know it inside and out. Know everybody's work, know all your work, know where you are at in the arc of this story. Are you at the climax of the thing? Where are you? So I became doing that, and then I became strict about finding everything. Character only had 3 lines. I had a whole story for that character. I would write down the story. I would know what his story was, know where he was coming from, know where he was going, know where he fit into this script, this play, this piece, right? And then, because I did 2-a-days, I was doing 2-a-days in the gym, just trying to create consistent action. And then, of course, the studying, and then studying with Dennis, changing everything about the way we, ate in the house, not doing not going out, hanging out with nobody. No, it was like kind of like a bodybuilder does. It's like no more eating bad food, no more. We working out right now. We're not doing no foolishness. I cut myself off from, a lot of friends and acquaintances that always had something to do. Oh, you need to mix and mingle with this guy. I said, no, because my cousin Tori Kittles, who's another actor, always said, just do the work will do you. Just do the work, just do the work, just do the work. All that other stuff will come, So I started doing that, and then that fast ended up becoming like, that was a particular type of fast, and then it became a year-long fast from something else, because I cut out like all red meat completely for a year. I didn't smoke, I didn't drink. I just got myself back to zero, and just everything I did was about, when I say selfish, everything I did was about making me better. So I needed to be the best version of myself for the job, for my parents, for my family, for everyone. So that's what I did. Mental health, I started listening to motivational speeches all day, all the time. And every time I did something, I was listening to something positive and making sure only good stuff was coming in here, was going in here, so that only good stuff came out here and here. And it was like I had a job. It was like a job. It was 16 hours a day. I was at it. And then go to sleep, wake up, do it all over again. Go to sleep, wake up, and became very consistent about it. And what happened is I became ready to do the massive amounts of work that I would have to do if I got something big, or so yeah, it was a change. It was a change in body. It was a change in demeanor. It was a change in work ethic. I would go to every audition now. Then I would do the same routine that I was doing every day. Learn everything, knew this stuff off book, in and out, but still kept the pages in my hand, but be completely off book, knew everywhere it fit. Stopped talking to casting directors. Stopped running my mouth. Stopped trying to be cool and be liked. I just came in there and did my job. I was pleasant, but I tried to be out the room and leave them wanting more. And they would always want to talk more. Yes? Yeah, great. Everything's great. All right, I'm going to go now. Bye. They'd be like, no, Neil, sit down. Let's talk. And I'm like, I just want to leave because I don't want to say anything stupid. Less is more. And so before every audition, no matter what time it was, no matter what, I did a full-on workout. I hit the sauna, shower, shower out. Dressed up, went there, looking pretty pristine. Anything that I was super focused because I got rid of any energy that I didn't need. And I would just go in and just nail it and know that I did everything in my power to be to be exactly what I needed to be in that room, and then throw it away. And do not let it affect you for the rest of the day. Go on to the next one. If it's meant to be, it'll be. And I had to read a lot of books and read a lot of quotes and such things about being able to let go and knowing that it's a numbers game. So that's what it was. A lot of stuff, and it carried over into my life now. Yeah.
So a routine of consistency and discipline is really what made the difference. And then, of course, in that you're listening to the right stuff. What is some of the stuff that you listen to get yourself to program your mind really into that state?
There's an app called Pep Talk. I started out with I would Google bodybuilding motivation speeches, and I would listen to them. And I would listen to Eric Thomas, and I would listen to Pastor T.D. Jakes, and I would listen to all. And what happened is it would always, if it started to affect me emotionally, if it pumped me up, or if it made me want to cry, if it did something, I knew I was on the right path. And it all said the right stuff, the stuff that I was learning, and the more you listen to it, the more you believe it, the more you do it. So those are and then I got the Pep Talk app, and it just had endless amounts, Machiavelli, endless amounts of great motivational speeches and the stuff that I listened to. I would listen to while I worked out. I would listen to while I went on a walk. I would listen to only classical music while I was reading the scripts. And just immerse myself in diligent, hard work. Because, like I said, anything worth doing is worth doing right and worth working hard at. So I did that religiously, and my wife was just watching me. Like, I'd see her. I'm addicted to my wife, and not being able to, kiss up on her and hold on her all the time was hard for me. But I had to. I just didn't have time. I was gone. And when I was there, I was like in work.
Yeah.
Headphones on, in work. And I said, this is going to pay off. It better. And she was like, it better.
So it was 6 months?
Yeah, it came in less than 6 months because it was, I started doing it for 6 months, and then like 5 months in, I think it was 5 months in, I got Straight Outta Compton.
Wow. Did you think it would happen that fast?
No. No, I just knew I had to do something.
Yeah.
I knew I had to everything starts with the first step. No word is a word until you write the first letter.
Right.
And if you want that word to be complete and say what it needs to say, then you need to put the first letter in. So you have to take the damn first step. And you can't not complain about not winning a race that you never ran. So you got to get in there. You got to get in the race. You got to get into the fight. And there's many ways up a marathon, up a mountain. And I had to realize, like, this is not a sprint. It's a marathon. And you got to know when to kick and when to coast. And this was a time to kick and kick hard. And it served me well. And I'm very, very fortunate that it did, and provided the ability to help the people in my life that needed it the most, in addition to the people that get to see the performances and whatnot.
I think that's a super lesson. If you feel stuck in what you're doing and you need to, and you're trying to up level or push through a plateau and you get to that next level, that idea of consistency and discipline and mindset is key.
You want something you never had before, you got to be willing to do something you never done before.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get weird. You got to go all the way in. You can't complain about not winning the race when you never trained to win the race and you never even ran it. You know, get in the fight, get in there, get in the ring, start mixing it up, and be diligent about it. A lot of people talk about like, oh man, I'm doing the work, and it's like, well, what's the last play you read? Huh? You're just waiting for the phone to ring for an audition.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know, not for me anyway. It never did, because you're cold when you go in there. You're truly cold, and if you want to, you know, get in there without getting really hurt, you want to be warm and you want to be ready. And I really needed this to happen.
Yeah.
My family needed it to happen, and even more so, more to the point, more importantly, that the people that are out there that needed to see these performances, they needed it, you know.
For sure. Preparation meeting opportunity, and you hit it right there. How do you define success?
It's evolving. It changes over time. It evolves, because a person's idea of success, like, oh, when I make it, be a big star and I get this money or I do this, and then it's evolving. It's your idea of success changes over time. I think if I'm believably doing my job, especially at this level, but believably doing my job and people are being affected by it, then I am successful by definition, because this is what I set out to do. And everything else is just icing on the cake. I used to say, like, I'm not successful yet. Even when I got this job, I was like, how does it feel to make it? I was like, I'll let you know when it happens. Because I haven't made it, but I'm making it. That makes sense?
Yeah. I had another guest on here that had a perspective on that. He's an actor. He said that making it is, if you're an artist, go make your art. You know, whatever you're doing, that's to him his definition of making it.
Yeah.
And the metric shouldn't be, you know, I'm rich and famous.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if your art is pure, then just the fact that you're out there creating is success.
100%. I dig that. That couldn't be better put. That's exactly what it is. I am extremely successful and very thankful and insanely blessed to do what I do with the people that I work with, and because I prayed for very specific things, and I put out in the universe very specific things that I wanted, even towards the people I wanted to work around. You know, I wanted to be around other married guys, because, you know, they would understand marriage and what it's like, you know, and what happens. We all married. I just get a job where we all married. So we all have this, you know, especially during Christmas time, we all have the same, like, oh man, have you done your shopping yet? Someone's like, well, what are you gonna get for the wife? I don't know. You know, we have these conversations that we can have, and we have these like minds. Yet we're all different, but we're all the same, and so we have these similarities. And I think opposites attract, but similarities keep you together. And I think that's one of the reasons why this show is so good, because there's a natural chemistry amongst us because we have those similarities. And I constantly am under my own pressure of, like, I'm not doing enough. I haven't, you know, done enough for people. Haven't done enough for my job. I could study more. I could train more. I could be better. But that's part of being a perfectionist, and you can't be perfect at this job. There's no such thing. It's to be present, not perfect. So that's my next lesson that I'm having to learn, to kind of like mitigate some of the drive that may be hurting me more so than helping. But this is all part of the success story of my family and me and my job and the show and all that. This is success. And as I go along, and if I'm learning something, then I'm successful. I hate people that know every damn thing. It's like, if you know everything, then kill yourself, because you don't need to be here. What you here for? Why are you here if you don't want to learn? You know, life is about infinite. Like, I have infinite discovery at my job, and that in itself is success for me, because I got that list and I learned that new thing. Or I learned how not to do something. You know, so I'm very successful and extremely rich. Like I said, richness in life, richness. I was rich well before I got money.
Who do you learn from today?
My wife, my wife, my children, my coworkers, my God, my parents, my fans, my work, my writers. I'm learning from all of them every day. Every day that I speak to them. That's why I call and check up on people all the time, and want to see how they're doing and what they're thinking about. And all the time, there'll be this little nugget that comes out of them that they didn't even know that they put on me. My DPs, like everybody, I like knowledge. I have a thirst for information. That's why when I was a kid and the internet came out, I was like, yo, I got it all right here, baby. And I read, and I still listen to those motivational speeches, and I still listen out for little nuggets of information that will help me go to the next step. My acting coach, Dennis Neal, the people who have been here longer than me, you know, they have to know more because they've been at the game of knowledge for longer than I have. So my elders, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to come a time, if not now already, when you're going to have to carry that torch and become the mentor.
You want to learn nothing from me, man? I don't know. Like Bruce Leroy said, I am no master. Yeah, that happens. I always thought that was the dad I was going to be. I thought I was going to be the old sensei dad with the long gray beard, and then, you know, and then I ended up being a 17-year-old father. Life is crazy. But maybe that happens. I pray that I've learned enough to, if and when that happens, I pray I've learned enough to give good information.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will help people.
You're a much deeper guy than I expected, but in talking to you here, I can see kind of the level of how conscious you are about these personal values and service, and the gratitude that you hold in your heart, which really defines, I think, a lot of who you are. How do you think people describe you when you're not in the room?
Neil, he crazy. No, I don't know. You know, like I said, people don't know a lot about me personally. You know, like who I really am. I think they say he's a good dude, and I know this because, like, my agents, like, they'll tell me that they were on another show, and then that person finds out, oh my God, you rep Neil Brown Jr.? Oh, we love him, and they always speak about, like, that he's humble and kind, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a fool. I mean, I'm loud and crazy and all this stuff. I always think I'm the opposite of what people are saying, but they say kind things.
Yeah.
They say very kind things, and they don't have to, and I'm so thankful for that.
How would you like them to describe you?
He's a class act.
Well said.
That's all I'm trying to get to. I mean, I'm a big Rat Pack guy. So, you know, I would, you know, I just like to be honest with people and open to a point, as open as I can be without preventing them from receiving what they need from the characters that I play. It's a difficult balancing act, but I hope people would say that he came here trying to leave the world better than when he came into it.
So what are you most excited about now?
In this moment, or in Christmas, or what? like
in your career, personal life, you know, any new projects?
Yes. I have. I did this movie, my first lead, where I'm the number one, which was great. I did it with Nikki Whalen, and we did this movie called Last Night in Rozzy, which is a story about trauma and PTSD kind of and trying to confront it and grow past it. It's a deep piece. No guns in this. It's a drama. And that's almost at Picture Lock right now. Ryan McDonough and Sean Gannett did it. And we had some wonderful producers, wonderful director, Sean. And then I have a film with Corey Hardrick, a good friend of mine, that we're doing an action comedy that we're still working on, that we haven't gotten into principal photography yet or anything, but called Con Angels. And Nick Jones Jr. Penned it. He was a former Marine, who's a writer, director now. But I'm really excited about the material that's coming now. I've just recently auditioned, my first audition in like a year and a half, almost 2 years, with Regina King. And it just went so well to be in that room again. But the material that I'm getting now is like, it's like, it's just going up, and being able to do those, have the opportunity to possibly do those jobs that I've always looked at like, oh man, that's the performance right there. I want to be that good. Well, now that material is coming to me. That material comes to me at my work on SEAL Team. That material comes to me on Insecure. And so I'm very excited about the next step with that. Like, how much better the material is getting, the more access, the more opportunity that I get. I may not get it, but just having the opportunity to is just really, gets me excited. And being able to spend more time like with my wife. Now my kids are grown, like she can travel with me now. She can go everywhere I go. Not that she does, but being able to have her around and being able to really like send my parents where I want to send them, and like for them to have these great vacations and have all this stuff that they truly deserve for raising me so well and being like the best parents ever. I'm getting into a position where I'm able to really, my in-laws as well, because they like raised me too. I've been with my wife since I was 14 years old. So just being able to do for them, my sister and all those guys, that's what's like, I'm really excited about the material, and then being able to do more for my family.
I'm sure they're very proud of you too.
I'm trying.
And you should give yourself some credit too. I know that you try to do everything for everybody else here because, that's your heart. But, the way you honor your family, your wife, your kids, I mean, I love it.
Thank you. They deserve it. You met my wife before. I don't know if you ever met my family, you know why. They're pretty awesome. Everybody's like, oh man, your wife is so great. And I was like, you love your wife so much. I was like, yeah, if you met her, you know why. She's awesome. And so is my family. And they're very deserving of everything that this life has to offer for them.
Wow.
Offer to them. And so everything that I have, I try to do as much as I can. I'm still trying to be like my dad. If I can be like a tenth of the man he is, then I've done my job.
You're there, man.
Thank you.
All right, so before we go, I got to ask you, your strangest or funniest fan encounter?
I don't really have strange ones. Everybody is, and I don't go out much, so everybody's really sweet. But the funniest thing is what happens is I get grabbed a lot by older, like I like to call them grandpas. And they'll go, hey! I'm like, huh? And he's like, oh, you're solid. I just watched you. You're amazing, Ray. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I mean, I'm just so appreciative. They just feel this connection. They feel close to you. I just think those are always so funny. Those are always so funny. I mean, really crazy fan things. I mean, I've been followed before, but I'm a pretty suspicious guy, so I always clock what's going on. But nothing truly strange. I've had somebody dressed like me before, which was really cool and very nice and very sweet. I'm fortunate. Every fan that I have is they're the most loving, most awesome, kind people, and without them, I wouldn't be getting what I needed by affecting them. You know what I mean? So Yeah, nothing truly crazy or strange yet.
Yeah. Well, good reason to keep those arms swole for when they
Yeah,
grab
I
you, right?
try, man. It's hard to get it all in every day.
All right, where can we find more about you?
Like social media?
Yeah.
Instagram. It's Neil Brown Jr. and Twitter at Neil Brown Jr. and Facebook at Neil Brown Jr. They're all the same. Those right there, and then the show Insecure season 4 is be coming out this year. Yeah. Chad shows back up, and SEAL Team, of course, Wednesday nights at 9, 8 Central, and we'll be back. I think we'll be back in February, March. But we'll be on The Price is Right tonight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, primetime Price is Right. Yeah, we did that. It was really cool.
Was that a SEAL team?
Yeah, SEAL Team Price is Right. It was cool, and all of the audience members are veterans or active duty military.
How fun.
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this was really cool.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks, Neil.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Big thanks to my special guest, Neil Brown Jr. Be sure to catch him on SEAL Team on CBS Wednesdays. Want to meet more incredible guests? Then don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And let me know what you think in the comments. Your feedback is always welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jay Menez, and I'll see you on the next episode of Hollywood Real.